The other night I saw a video from Tim Shoebridge, basically just explaining how the diffusion delay on the Muse, the Moog Muse works. Super informative, really great. I recommend you take a look. And one of the comments that Tim made was that, at least in his firmware version, he wasn't able to modulate some of the parameters on the diffusion delay. Now, ever since May or June, basically just like earlier this summer, Moog put out a firmware version 1.4, which addresses that, among a bunch of other things. It's a really great update. But it also added the ability to modulate the diffusion delay with the newly added global LFOs and envelopes. There's a video about all this on the Moog YouTube channel, but I figured I'd take my own stab at it as well. So here we have just an initial patch, nothing, just as it comes. And we're not going to do too much to the patch, to be honest. Maybe I'll just shorten. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe that'll help illustrate the delay a little bit better. And maybe I'll just do like a quick arpeggio. Actually, let me press the hold button first. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to make it just like random. And also I'm going to change the clock division to something a little slower. Sure, this is fine. This is very basic, but it'll work for us. So what we'll do is, actually, let me just I'm gonna bring in oscillator 2. Make it slightly more interesting. Sure, this is just like a very basic patch, but just to have something. Anyway, before we do anything, I want to set up a couple things. I want to go into the diffusion delay options here, just pressing like the little more button. And I'm going to change the time mode to pitch shift instead of crossfade. Going to change the resolution to 16. That's just a preference. Character filter, I'm going to turn it off at first. I might bring it back in later. But then I'm going to enable the character diffuse. Yes, maybe bring it down to like 3 seconds so it kicks in a little bit sooner, maybe even like 2 seconds. 2 seconds and change. And I think those are the only options that I wanted to tweak here, and the extra options for the diffusion delay. So I'm gonna click out of that. And then I'm gonna start enable diffusion delay for timbre A. And then we can hear the diffusion delay kicking in. Now, what I want to do though is I want to turn down the time both for left and right. And I'm going to turn up the feedback to maybe like halfway through. And actually, I'm gonna crank up the mix because I want us to be able to hear this. And then if I turn the character knob, then yeah, we hear this reverberation, which is nice. Now, one thing I wanted to do is modulate the diffusion delay time with the global LFO, one of the global LFOs, so that we get a bit of like almost like a chorus or flanger sound. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but yeah, I can go to mod map here. And then I make sure that I click on Gmod edit. That brings you into global modulation. And as you can see now, all of these, the extra buttons on the envelopes and LFOs start glowing. That's just telling you that they're on global mode, or you're just tweaking the global ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, say, like, for example, like global LFO1, and I'm going to make it unipolar for this, and I'm going to assign it to diffusion delay. I'm going to do like the right time. And right off the bat, it's going to sound really weird. And that's fine. This is not what we're going for, but just to make it like very obvious for starters. Okay, so enter, we accept that. So the thing we want to do is I'm going to change this delay time R to delay time linked. Now it's affecting both delay times, and you know, you can hear if I tweak the rate on the LFO, it's affecting that. That's great. Now this is way too much, right? So I'm going to turn this all the way down to like at most maybe like 1. Even that might be too much, but maybe actually I'm going to click shift and this might be good actually. I'm going to turn down the rate. I think you can start hearing what we're trying to do here. I'm going to turn up the feedback. And maybe bring it back from the diffusion, sort of like towards the middle, like the character knob. Just exit the mod map. I want the delay character to be at like... Oh, sorry, I have the shift button on, so it was like doing like very small increments. I want to bring it to the middle. Here we are. Maybe that's a bit too much, but again, if I go to mod map again, and maybe now I press shift and make some smaller adjustments. There you go. So yeah, then now we have like a bit of like a flanger, you know, chorusy type thing going on. Maybe if we just increase the release. Oh, sorry. See, my mistake. So you see, I'm trying to adjust the amp envelope, but it's not really doing a lot because I'm still on global mode. So I can change back to, I guess, per voice mode a couple different ways. I can go back to the mod map and just declick on Gmod edit, and that should bring me back. There you go. I could also do it like through the extra button over here at the top right. I'm gonna increase the attack, make it like somewhat pad-like. Now the character knob, again, can also be modulated. Again, everything on the diffusion delay can now be modulated. Actually, one other thing that I want to do, I just want to give this some width, so I'm going to turn up the pan spread. Also, if I go to VCA, I don't think it's actually going to affect this because this is a global LFO, so forget that. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Okay, so we have this. We want to maybe like modulate the character knob. So again, as we were doing before, the other way, I'm going to click on LFO2, the extra button, and then on the bottom left corner, there's a Gmod edit. So okay, so now we're in global LFO2. It says like GLFO2. Okay, cool. What we can do then is assign this to the character knob. Oh yeah, we're going to keep it bipolar. And there you go. You can hear it affecting the character. diffusion, which, okay, let's press enter. I think if I go to the extra button for diffusion delay, I have the filter off, so it's just like strictly affecting the diffusion amount, but I can also maybe turn on the filter. And now we're on the DJ filter. I mean, by default we are. We can definitely change that to something else. Maybe turn down the mix a little bit so it's not 100%. I had it at 100%, so we just like really make it obvious what's going on here. See, leave it at 100 for now. Ooh, I like that. That sounds kind of nice. And again, we can adjust the rate of that. Let's change it back to... Yeah, the DJ one is good. We can go to mod map again and maybe make this, turn this up a little bit more. So again, you can have like a really nice and slowly evolving and modulating motion here. So I'm going to exit global edit because what I want to do is also maybe, I don't know, maybe affect the filter maybe with maybe like one of the per voice LFOs, because I want to be able to do maybe some like pan spread. I'm going to turn down the pan spread real quick just to illustrate this. Just want to do like a binaural thing, so let's go to LFO 1, click the extra button, and then I'm going to change the LFO type to per voice. Actually, let's leave it at global first. Okay, never mind that. Let's leave it at global first. I'm going to assign it to filter 2 call. Starting to clip a little bit. Maybe turn it down a bit. So let's turn up the pan spread. Make it a little obvious. This one other thing that I need to do for the pan spread is if I go to the VCA extra, LFO's phase spread, turn it to on. And now I'm back to LFO 1 and make sure that's by per voice. Now I think it would be a little more obvious if maybe if I turn down the mix for the diffusion delay a little bit. I'm going to turn the mix down fully off so you can see what the binaural quote-unquote thing is doing. And then we turn the mix back up for the diffusion delay. So yeah. Yeah, that's how you can use the global modulators to affect the diffusion delay and pretty much everything else.